Hello. And he, hello, I'm asking who joined. Hello? Hello.
Hi there,
Hi, and who am I speaking with?
Antonio Hernandez.
Hi, Antonio. Thank you for joining today.
Oh yes, of course, of course. I'm glad to be here.
I've been pretty impressed with everybody so far. I'm like, what? This is your first recording? This is great.
Let's see.
We're going to wait a few minutes before we get about a minute before we actually, oh, there you are. Before we actually start, I want to see how many people show up. I know we have a couple from, oh, they're from all over the place. And we have some from
Alaska.
Alaska. Yes, you notice that too. I'm like, wow. So that's been, I personally, I think it's kind of terrific. I mean, because it lends itself to so much variety and so much rich dialogue to have people from everywhere to kind of connect and
Mm-hmm.
network with one another. And yeah, so yes.
The power of technology, right?
Right. I'm probably sure about like with everybody else, and I can see you're probably in your home, or maybe you're at your actual office because you're at the University of Houston, right?
You based downtown? Yeah,
Yep.
yes, ma'am. And
Yep.
I'm actually at the house, so yeah.
Yeah. Our university elected to have departments select that they wanted to do remote learning, and we are doing remote learning as a public health program. So keeping our students safe. So
Yeah, I think we've opened up because we're like a state institution. So I know when I was talking to my boss, she said that once the governor opens it up to 75%, then we will open up the classroom 75%. So,
yeah,
but I was already slated to teach online. So,
yeah. So I had one class, I had two classes online and one was face-to-face. And I had, the week before classes started, we were like, the dean said, if you can transition to online, he goes, I want you to transition to online. So I had like 4 days to transition my entire face-to-face class to online. I was like, yikes, we can do
yeah,
it though. You know what I mean? So I go, we got this. So,
yeah, yeah.
and
I've been teaching online for like about 6 years,
yeah,
and maybe a couple of years ago I was teaching a hybrid, but it's mostly been online. So it's not a shock to me, but I do want to enhance my program, my online courses and
absolutely.
stuff. So
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. I'm going to give everybody a couple more minutes, and then if it's just you and I, that's totally fine. And we can just have great, rich dialogue together.
sounds good to me.
I've been using, I love to use audio and video tools. I personally have a learning disability, so I do a lot of audio feedback. And I
Okay.
use a transcription tool. I think I posted it to you, but maybe I didn't. Maybe it was to somebody else, but we can figure that out later. Speech Notes, and it's a Chrome-based tool. Right? It only exclusively works in the Chrome browser. And I have my headset as close to my mouth as possible, and I enunciate my words as I'm speaking into the video or to the audio tool. So I have two places going at once, and that way I get the transcript and all my feedback can go in from a text standpoint and from an audio standpoint. And this morning it was just so timely. I posted it in the workshop, a YouTube video. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it yet. And there's a brand new tool that came out. I'm going to try it this week for sure because I have to give feedback to my students. But in the course, it's called Mote, Mote, and it's a brand new extension that goes into Google's, like Google Docs and Google Slides. And I'm a heavy Google user. And
Okay.
it provides the text and the audio feedback for papers, and it's free. Like, wow, this is really quite a slick tool. So it's published in June of this year. So I'm like, this is cool. Let's give this a try and see what happens. So my goal is to try it out this week and see, and then say, hey, here it is, folks. I might even try it on some of your assignments, see if it works.
Oh, I mean, just doing the evals on the 2 audios and the 2 videos that you assigned to us. I mean, I sat back last night and I was like, wow, I didn't realize all this technology was here, especially the Google Docs, where you can use the audio feedback, a voice recording and or messages or whatever the case. I was like, I said, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't realize it was out there.
Yeah, it'll make your grading life so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And students, when we look at universal design, for example, and universal design for learning, we're looking at different modes of representation and engagement and action. And that all encompasses an audio tool or a video tool, all encompass that. So anyway, I'm going to give everybody 1 more minute,
okay,
and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and I put the slide deck out there already for everybody, and each week I also have at the end, I'll put together what we call a Symbaloo, which is a social bookmarking tool, and it'll have all the sites and readings in a web area so that you have everything in the future. And I update that regularly. So if you just keep the link, you'll see me updating it and putting new tools in. So yeah, yeah. So, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started if you're okay with it, Antonio.
Sounds good to me. Oh, yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so here we go. So welcome, by the way. And thank you for electing to take the OLC's Audio and Video Tools workshop. I mean, again, this is one workshop I truly enjoy. I like making little videos, and I like to put audio into my classrooms, and I like to find the right tool to help me make the job easier. And that's really what, you could take an audio and video tool to do. Or you can also have it where your students actually do the work. And I actually created an assignment this semester using Flipgrid. If you're not familiar, are you familiar with Flipgrid?
No, ma'am.
Oh, it's awesome, and it's free. Flipgrid, and I had my students define 5 medical terms, 2 hard or 2 difficult terms, 3 easy terms, and they had to record themselves doing the pronunciation of the term, and they had to define it and break it down by root, suffix, or prefix, and whatever it may be in that level. And I can show you an example of that as we go through this particular session. So here we go. So just to kind of give you an idea, and I'll probably go through the course, and probably tomorrow I'll do a screencast-o-matic or screencastify and show you how to navigate the course, but you're already there, which is great. So Monday, the workshop open, you want to introduce yourself. Today, begin to evaluate some of the tools, and what I'll be doing each day is I'll be like, day 1, resources and reminder, day 2, resource and reminder, day 3, and each day we'll have a different tool and or video to kind of give you a sense of why we use audio and video in the classroom or online classroom in general. And then you'll do your responses. I like to do my responses by audio. It's an audio video class. I'll probably do at the end, I'll probably do video. I'll do like a screencast. It's like, this is a great idea. Why have you tried this? Yada, yada, yada. And then by Thursday, you'll complete your test. You'll create something, whether it's a short video or whether it's a short audio. And some of you've already put your announcements in. I always do my announcements in screencast, or I do it in an audio clip so students can listen to it. And right now, if you recall, maybe 5 or 10 years ago, podcasting really made its mark. Well, it's coming back again. So podcasting and creating podcasts for my students on, for example, medical terminology or a current health topic. I'm like, take a listen to this podcast, or here's a podcast channel. Why don't you check it out? On like food, health, and justice. It's another course that I'm teaching this semester. And then at the end, you'll do the survey. And once you're done with the survey, you can download your certificate, which again, I'll probably provide a screencast to show everybody how to do that. And you're all set and you've earned it. So that's pretty much the week. And it goes by so fast. It's unbelievable how fast a 7-day workshop will go by.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So, well, since it's just you and I know why I would want to try it, but what brought you here?
Like I said, I just want to enhance my online learning for the students.
I kind of get stuck with paper assignments. I have them write in the APA format, and I've given them all these resources, but it just seems like they still kind of struggle in the beginning. So I'm thinking, well, maybe there are some, audio learners out there. So, or maybe using a video to say, hey, okay, go through step by step on how I want the paper formatted. So maybe that would help. So that's what I'm looking for. And then also the student to teacher interaction. When I taught face to face, didn't have any issue, had a great bond with the students. It's kind of fallen off with the online courses because I don't know them. I don't get to know them on a personal.
Right. And one of the things that I have incorporated into my online courses is I actually have, again, we're a heavy Google users program. So we also use Google Meet in our programs. And so I actually will, if I have a student chime in, I'll actually, let's just chat via Google Meet, and I'll just connect them, and that's still a video connection. So that's why we're using video in the classroom. It doesn't necessarily have to be a video where we're watching a film. It could be video like we're here in Zoom. So I actually have a Google Meet with them, or again, I use a Zoom, which is becoming quite popular. And there are other tools out there that you can use as well, BlueJeans, WebEx, GoToMeet, whatever it may be, to provide that student to student, even student to faculty and student to content interaction that we're hoping to get into our online classes so we can build that sense of community. And that's exactly what audio does. It builds a sense of community. I think it was it Danny's? Did you get a chance to listen to any of the introductions?
I listened to Joseph. I didn't listen to Danny's. I just saw that from this morning.
Danny's was hilarious.
Okay.
Like, absolutely hysterical. And it's a great way to get them to, great people. I'm like, I never thought of doing something like that, doing the 3 lies and the truths and doing it by audio, because then it forces people to go, I want to know what the lies and the truths are.
Yeah.
And to get to find out what a great way to get to know one another. And I think I'm going to steal that idea. So, like, very cool. But it gives you a voice, and I'm not going to read these to you, but it gives you that interaction and can potentially plant the seed for more dialogue. And I often give a question, like, what do you think? And it's not just the words, what do you think, but more food for thought. If I do my food class, I always end up with food for thought. Take a look at, and then I say, make sure you explore, and I make it a scavenger hunt with an audio clip. And it gets them not just to research your information that's in your course, but it gets them to think more of an exploratory nature. And I incorporate audio and video to help what we call accentuate the 5 E's of learning: engagement, exploration, I always draw a blank, but those are the 2 main ones I use, is exploration and engagement. So the 5 E's of learning. I'm going to go ahead and move forward then. So, oops, did I go too fast? Okay, so do you remember this? It's cassette tape.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, this is a podcast gone past. I was going to put a record album on here because, like, I love record albums, but did they really record anything on a record album for a learning experience? And I don't know if they have, but I know that people used to use cassette tapes.
Mm-hmm.
And big ones, little ones, whatever it may be, but now we've got it all digital. So taking your cassette tapes, or now taking your audio clips and sharing them with the masses. And there are great tools out there like SoundCloud, and which I'll be posting later this week. But looking at Kaizenia and looking at how Google has their text to speech and speech to text, and looking at motes and looking at how we can use this type of maybe even old technology to bring in new technology. And the thing is, one of the where was I going with my question? What's one thing that you could do with cassette tapes that you can do with digital as well? And it's open-ended, and there's no right or wrong answer, by the way.
So something you can do with cassette and audio?
And digital audio.
And digital. Well, I mean, record, like you said, so.
Record is one. And the light bulb's about to go on once I say it. you can rewind and re-listen.
Yeah, simple, exactly.
Exactly. So we had the technology back in the day, and that's why I bring this one up. I'm like, well, think about it. We can now rewind and re-listen and relearn and learn again. And we could
Yeah.
do that with cassette tapes, but now we have digital. So that's kind of how we can, that's the vital aspect of um, watching a video over and over. And I often also ask about this one. How many people are DIYers?
Ooh, what is DIY?
Oh, I'm sorry, do it yourself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I go, okay. And if nobody raises their hand, I go, well, avid DIYers. And I bring in I bring in the storytelling element of it. And my neighbors on both sides of us love to DIY before they actually hire it out. It's hilarious. They actually will go, oh, I found the YouTube video and I decided to do it myself. My neighbor did his gutters by himself by watching a YouTube video. My other neighbor built a fence by watching a YouTube video. I'm like, that's really cool. I learned how to knit from a YouTube video.
Okay.
So can we do that? Learning how to cook by a YouTube video, and listening to stories and storybooks and whatnot. Kids can learn to read by reading along.
Mhm.
And we can rewind and re-listen and relearn. Cassette tapes did that for us back in the day. Now we have digital.
Right.
So yeah, see? So anyway, so here are some of our tools to explore. Kaizenia, Cherbit. I think you used Cherbit, didn't you?
Yes, I went out on a limb and just said, you know what, I'm going to use what she's provided. And I mean, it took about 6 takes, but I got it. I got it.
I tend to fly, and that's awesome. I mean, I tend to fly by the seat of my pants when I do my audio stuff for my students. And like, and I'll usually like type it out first, and then I'll just go, "Hi, everybody, how's it going?" And we're at week 6 right now. And for week 6, you need to make sure you look at the syllabus, make sure you do the checklist. Then you do this, and then you do this. And then if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me, or you can always chat with me. I put it, you want to keep your audio clips to about what we call at least a minute to 2 minutes tops. Because now we're looking at micro learning, and audio and video tools help with micro learning. And these are 2 tools that are just phenomenal. Now your phone, not only can you get Cherbit on your phone, but your phone also, I mean, if you have an iPhone, which I know you have an iPhone because you logged in with an iPhone, you can get a ton of audio recording tools, and then you can just send them to your email, and then you can post them to your students if you remember something. One thing that I don't have on here too is using Vocaroo, and I'm going to show you that tool. I've recorded a number of welcomes using Vocaroo. It is super easy. I'm going to stop the screen sharing, and I'm going to go back to share, go here, and here's Vocaroo. And can you see the screen, Antonio?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. So this is a free tool. You simply have a microphone on your laptop. You click on the red button here. It's flash oriented. That's probably the only disadvantage. And then you hit allow. I'm going to allow it to pick up my voice. And now it's actually recording everything I'm talking to you about, as long as this red button is glowing. And I can talk about the benefits of using Vocaroo. And one of the things that you can do with it is you can add it to Twitter, Facebook. You can embed it into your course, and it's free. So I now can hit the stop button. I can hit save and share. And here's the other cool thing. It can give you a QR code. So if a student wants to look at it from their phone, they can. You can download it to your computer and upload it to your course in your learning management system, or you can email it, text it, use Twitter, Facebook. I've never done, I don't know what that is. I've never used it, but I can make a copy of it, of that, just that link itself. But if I want to, I can click embed, make a copy of the code, and I can literally embed the link into my class, and students can go, I just go, click on the audio clip, make sure you look at this first, or you hear this first before you move on. And the feedback I get from students is like, we love having those. I remember one week I stopped it and they're like, Dr. J, where's the audio clip for this week? They were so used to it. And they're like, it's easier for me to hear you say it than it is for me to open it up and read it.
Yes. Yes.
So that's what happens is I actually copy that, and I actually did it in the course. So I go here into introductions. I think I did Vocaroo back to you. No, I did Chirp It back to you.
No, sure. Yes.
And then, so Danny, I did Danny's that way. So I think she used online audio tools. And then here's the Vocaroo, and it embeds right into the learning management system.
Okay.
So as long as you can open up the editor for the HTML option for your editor, it embeds very easily.
Okay.
Okay, so that's Vocaroo. The other tool that is not mentioned in the slide deck and not mentioned in the listings as well is this online voice recorder. And this is also a free tool. They also offer an audio cutter, a joiner, audio converter. I mean, it's wonderful. And a video recorder, they have some really great tools, and these are all free. This one too, you simply click on the red button. You allow it to record your voice, and you can see the voice inflection options, which I think is kind of cool. So if you were a speech and language pathologist, maybe this is one way to see how your voice articulates a term. And I'm just going to go ahead and stop. You'd click save, and it downloads it as an MP3, and you can put it on your computer and you can upload it right to your course.
Okay.
And it's so easy, and students can do it as well. It's super easy to use. So, and that's the onlinevoicerecorder.com site. Okay. You know what I could do? I could put this link in there just in case you want to record it. There's that. I'm putting the links into the chat for you so you have them.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So there are two other voice tools that you can use. Now, again, you can use Chirpit. Kaizenea helps with assignments. It integrates into, integrates with a Blackboard, with a Google tool for the most part. But you can download the app as well. I personally like the other three better, but it's also a personal preference. I look at it like golf clubs or buying shoes. I like certain types of shoes. I like certain types of golf clubs. So I like certain types of ice cream. So there are some of the audio tools. I'm going to stop the sharing and go back to the presentation. And feel free to chime in with any questions that you might have.
Yes, ma'am.
Seems it's just the two of us.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go on. Okay, so, and then here are some of the tutorials on how you would use it. So what I want to kind of challenge you with now is thinking about how you would use this particular tool. How would you use an audio tool? I use audio tools very much to help with summative and formative assessment, so I can give feedback that way. I've gone to a very holistic type of grading this semester. As long as the students are giving their full-blown effort, I give them credit as long as they can explain to me why they did what they did.
Okay.
And so, especially in my food, health, and justice course, because I really want them to think from a very much a social justice lens. So with that said, oops, that wasn't supposed to do that. This slide deck is out there. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but I can share this with you and you can do the activity or we can continue on. Which one would you like to do? It seems like you and I.
We can do the activity.
Okay.
I hadn't looked at it yet. So.
Okay. So wonderful. So what I'd like for you to do, I'm going to go ahead and open it up and then put the form link into the chat feature so you have it more readily.
Okay.
And I'll give you, oops, paste. Okay, why isn't that pasting in? Because I didn't copy it.
So for this, do I have to go into the class and?
Nope. What I
Okay.
did is I put the URL, I put the link. If you go to the chat feature in Zoom, I put the link into the chat feature, and you can click on it, and it should open up a new web browser. Okay.
So
And
it's a,
to,
is it the Docs Google? Is that the one?
yes.
Okay. Okay, I got it.
So here's another idea for all of you, is to create a Google form or some type of other form that embeds a YouTube video and create quizzes. And that's another way you can use video and audio. We actually use Vocaroo to create all of our audio spelling tests for our medical terminology course. So there's a handful of us, there's 6 instructors, and each of us took a chapter, and we did 25 terms, said them all, recorded them all, and imported them into our class so that students would have them. And then we rotate the questions out, and students can listen to us say endoscopy or gastroenteritis, or something super easy like diabetes, and they don't have to learn how to spell it by hearing our voice in our quiz. You can also create a quiz by using a Google form and embedding video into it and asking them what they think. So maybe you've got, what do you teach again, Antonio?
I'm teaching criminology this semester.
Oh, perfect. You could do a ton of videos and like put them into a Google form, or use, there's another tool that's pretty cool. It's called Vialogs. And Vialogs allows for engaged interaction of a video, where you actually provide the video and you give them time to think about what's wrong with it. And I'm not totally familiar with your field, so I apologize, but what comes to mind is that there was a study, and you'll probably know before I will, and I used it for an ethics video, and it was the ethics of, they took a handful of students. One group of students were the prison guards, and another group of students were the prisoners.
Prisoners. I think it's called the Stanford experiment.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, and I used that as an example for my ethics part of my research course, and why this wasn't acceptable for research. And so I embedded it into Vialogs. Let me see if I can find that for you really quick. There it is. No, wait, that's not it. Yeah, I think that is. Not Vialog. No, that's it. Yep, this is it. This came out of Columbia University. So if we go to Vialogs itself, there we go. You can actually take a video, even if it's your own video, and you can actually have discussions. So for example, maybe it's criminology, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope I spelled that correctly. I probably didn't. Nope. Let's just do crime.
That's
I can spell
that'll
that. I can spell that. So, I mean, you can take one at forensic medicine. These are private Vialogs. Oh, I wonder if the Stanford experiment's out there. Oh, I remember this one, the Shawshank Redemption. So you click on a video, you can create your own, and you can see where you can put questions in, and students can reply. And you can, if you go right to certain areas, what part of the video, it'll take you right to the video part, and you can talk about that video and why it was important. So anyway, so this is really a wonderful tool that allows you to put comment, and then the student you can put a comment in and provide discussion at that point in time of that video. So if you wanted them to learn something about a case in criminology, you could. I mean,
Okay.
but so this is Vialogs. I'll put this one in the chat feature so you have it too.
Okay. That's good. This is good stuff.
Glad you like it. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes then to explore, or we can explore together,
Okay.
how you would use Where did it go? You would use Kaizenia. So there's a 2-minute video. I have you watch it on your own.
Okay, so can I say something real quick?
Absolutely, please.
Okay, so I actually looked at the Kaizena last night, and I created a fake little, I guess, assignment, and so I actually used the features as far as like giving the feedback on the paper, the text messaging, and then also an audio, I guess, audio comments. So is that where we're going with this?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
absolutely. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
because
So,
I looked at it, and that's one. I guess I'm entering my own eval too. That was one part that I liked. It's like a one-stop shop. I could do everything there and then send it off to the student.
yep.
So I saw the Kazina tutorial last night, and then also like you were explaining earlier about the do-it-yourselfers. I actually went to YouTube to kind of look at Kazina, and it's like, oh, okay, oh, this is where I find the feedback. Oh, this is what lessons mean, or the skill bit, or whatever. So yes.
Oh, fantastic. Then we won't bother with that one then. That's great. Yay. I love it. I love it. I love it. The other tool then, if you want to try it out, is Screencast-O-Matic.
Yes.
I love this tool. I love it so much. For years, I just did the free option. I said, you know what, for $40 a year, for $48 for the year, I'm going to buy the full blown, because it is worth it, because I can zoom in and zoom out, and I can cut, and I can put narration, I can put captions in.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had a chance to explore Screencast-O-Matic?
I explored Screencast-O-Matic yesterday, and I actually I did it off my phone, and I saw the little blinking microphone. I was like, I wonder if it's on. I said, I think it's on. So that's one of my bloopers per se, so I actually created what I created for Turbid, and I did it on the Screencast-O-Matic, and then send it to myself, and then I listened to it after that. So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
fantastic.
And
So,
it is relatively cheap. I mean, as far as like the whole year, I was just like, holy crap, man, that's pretty neat, for what you get, for what you're paying for,
it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely worth it. And just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like, I'll log into my account, and I probably should be labeling my recordings a lot better. These are all my weekly announcements for my students for medical terminology. And notice that they're not very long, but what's great about it is that you have this editor. It'll launch in just a second. I don't know if it'll launch here. I'll have to switch screens or not. But you can edit the videos, and you can create channels, and it can go out to a YouTube channel.
Okay.
And you can embed it into like Vialogs if you wanted to. And I've done a number of videos where I actually create a tutorial, and it talks about medical terminology and whatnot. And it does take some time for it to load, because I'm on an older MacBook, but it's one tool that's just, I can't speak highly enough of it. I'm not trying to give them a plug, but it's worth it. So here's, I don't know if I'm going to try to, okay, so I'm going to see can you see a pop-up window? Or probably not.
No.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go out back to screen share. Here we go. So with the advanced features, you can actually click on scripted, and you can actually put a video in it, and here it is. It'll actually script the video for you, which is really quite cool. So I'm just going to go back one. So when you do your recordings, I've asked folks if they wanted me to put a script with it, and they said no. So that's one reason why I didn't do it. And then you can actually delete, oops, it wasn't supposed to happen. Oops, actually I do want to delete that. Delete. Okay, so, and you can also import video, which is awesome. So if you've recorded your other videos using a different type of tool, you can do that. You can actually edit the video such that it allows you to, I'll just click on this one really quick and edit. You can actually shrink it down, but notice I can put music in the background. I can put my cursor, I can change my cursor, I can put my captions in, I can actually zoom in and zoom out and cut, insert, hide, replace, overlay. So if I wanted to go here and put an overlay arrow on, I could do that. Say take a look, oops, well, let's switch this around. There you go. I can go right there. It's right there, and it'll be right in the video.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
yeah, or you can change how it looks too, from size wise. You don't have to, but I mean, it's really kind of cool to do so. And then you can silence things. Again, another tools that you can put in. You can put a transition in. So it depends on where you want it. If you want to fade in or fade out, put the type in. Oh, come on. There we go. So you can go into like microscope and then direction and then hit done. I hope they don't freak out when I do this, but so you can see here that it's got that stuff in it now, but I can hit play and it faded out.
Mm-hmm.
So something you can do a ton of it. If you go, the $48 is worth it. I mean, I can point to things and if I want to. So, and that's what I plan to, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, this is Screencast-O-Matic, correct?
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Okay.
Delete that, I don't need that either. So Screencast-O-Matic. I'll go ahead and stop the sharing.
And so you said you can use the caption for Screencast-O-Matic as well, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at, okay, how do I reach those individuals who may have disability or special needs or something like that? So I was thinking about the caption and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a great tool. Okay.
Absolutely. Great story to tell you. About 4 years ago, I had a student who was hearing impaired in my class. It was a hybrid course, so we only met 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did everything by audio recording. So she came up to me and she goes like, Dr. J, can you possibly put transcripts with these? I'm like, I'd be happy to record them and do them over. And the funny thing is that I tracked how many people downloaded the actual transcript, and it wasn't just one person. It was like half the class. Okay. Half the class was they were downloading the transcripts so they could read the transcripts and hear at the same time. So they wanted both modalities. So I'm like, and they said, oh, having the transcript only helped me learn the material a lot better. I'm like, great. So having that there, but one of the things to be cautioned with is if you don't do the script, if you're going to do scripting, is to keep your videos shorter, no more than 10 minutes, because then you're going to get really tired and it's going to take you hours to transcript. Okay. But if you use a program called Speech Notes, it gets really close. It's like 90% accurate. Okay. And Speech Notes is definitely a Chrome-based tool. I don't have Chrome open right now.
Okay.
But Speech Notes, I can Google that one for you too. I'm going to close this one out. I'm going to close this out. Close that out. Close Bokaroo out. I'm pulling up Speech Notes from Firefox. Again, it won't work in Firefox, but I can give you the link for it.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And it's speech to notepad, and it can actually go on your phone too. So here it is in the chat feature. Okay. So definitely a Google tool. I absolutely positively love this tool. It's pretty accurate. Oftentimes the other step that I do if I need to record something is I take my phone, I do the text piece of it, make sure the text goes to myself, and I turn it on, and I record right from my phone. And then I send it to myself via email and I post it. Okay. That's the long way around it, but Speech Notes is much better. Because one, it integrates right into Google Docs and it's already there for you. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
I guess I'm going to have to brush up on Google because last night was the first time that I used it when I was looking at the Kaizena.
Yeah.
So me personally, I've just never used Google. you know.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to at least
It's,
look into it.
oh, I would encourage you to, because it's
Okay.
just, there's so many wonderful extensions and so many wonderful um, add-ons
Mhm.
to a lot of the other programs. Like, again, speech notes goes right, it can integrate right into Google Docs.
Okay.
So, and you can download it and download it right into your Google Drive, which is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite things, because then I don't have to worry about having the notes, and it makes my emails a lot faster.
Hmm.
And I'm like, boom, if I ever do a longer email, boom, 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 I just speech it in. There's
Okay.
just no way. There's no way I'm doing that, because it's just too time consuming. And that's why that's why I'm getting so much done, folks, because I'm just speeching it in. So there's speech notes for you, and I put that in there. But I'm going to be posting a lot of these links as well, and this will be recorded too. This is being recorded. So let's see. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so we've got that covered. And so we talked about Screencast-O-Matic. There's YouTube. YouTube Creator YouTube has an academy for teachers, so you can actually go through their academy. I don't think it costs anything. It hadn't in the past. That you can actually learn how to do your own YouTube videos, which is kind of cool. There's TED-Ed. Are you familiar with TED-Ed?
No, I mean, I listened to the, the speakers on TED, but not familiar with it.
Okay. So I'm going to stop the sharing on this one too. I actually created an assignment for my students, and I think it'd be great for your students too, because you could probably do it as a case by case.
Mhm.
So here's TED. TED-Ed is a free tool. And what's great about this particular tool, Antonio, is that one, you can go to discover lessons, but you can also customize them for your students, or you can have them create them. And that's what I did. I had my students actually create their videos, create the quizzes, create the dialogue, and everything. And actually ended up being a final exam for them. So here are some example videos. And you can actually go to all subjects. And I don't know if they're going to have, I don't know where your area would be. But I'm going to, for kicks and giggles, I'm just going to go with health because it's what I know.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with public health. And so, for example, and your videos don't have to be to this caliber. Let's go with how fast a vaccine. Notice the video is 5 minutes long. And a lot of these are really short. So you always want to keep your videos short if you can possibly help it. And there are also people doing TED Talks too. So if you click here, it's broken down into 4 to 5 areas. So you can, students watch the video first, then they think, which is a quiz on the video, so which is not a phase, clinical trial, not exploratory. You could go on from there. Then you dig deeper, and they create a composition so they can write about it. So maybe it's a Stanford project, and they find a video on the Stanford project, and they do quiz questions on it, and then they summarize what's going on and provide resources. So these red links actually go out to more information on that particular topic. So it becomes very exploratory and engaging at the same time. And it's definitely very much a space character specific. So students have to be really concise in their writing and in their learning. And then you go right to the discussion piece, and you can see that view discussion. Let's see if it'll open up for me. Because this isn't my, oh, here it is. What do you know? So you can see people have actually responded. So should vaccinations be mandatory for all citizens during a pandemic? Why or why not? And here's the people communicating with it. And so you could have that dialogue back and forth with your students based on an activity that you created or they created.
Okay.
Yeah, so
and so they create, or I create the questions I think under Think it had like a little quiz. So then we create that as well. Okay.
Yep, you can, or you can reuse a lesson and make changes to it, which is kind of cool. I had my students, what I had them do is they had to take a public health topic that was of interest to them, And I can share the lesson plan with you too if you'd like.
Yeah.
I had them create that, and then they had to create, because it's a group of 3, they each had to create 2 multiple choice true false questions, and then they each had to create 1 discussion question. And then all the discussions, and then students could respond to any, in the class could respond to anybody's question. They didn't have to respond to just the one. So, and then again, you can go in and you can create a lesson based on your own video. So you can actually go to your own YouTube video. So the Stanford Project. Let's see if it comes up. Oops, I can't spell. Is that, did I spell it correctly?
Or maybe the Stanford experiment.
That's right, Stanford. Okay, there we go. Maybe that's right. Oh, I still didn't spell it right, did I? How do you spell it?
Stanford, STANFORD.
Oh, I spelled it correctly.
Maybe the experiment, Stanford experiment instead of
Okay.
project.
Okay. There we go.
Mhm.
So yeah, so you can click on the video. It's real short. You hit continue. And it guides you right through the process. You hit let's begin, you do an introduction, the think, multiple choice or open-ended question, dig deeper where they actually put in text. They get 7,500 characters, so they have to really be concise. There's the discuss, and then finally closes out the actual lesson. So that you can have them find, assign them, something video-wise in your course and have them create their own.
Okay.
And see if they, and then have the students evaluate what they've learned, and then they've created learning objects for your class. And that's what I've done too in my past. I did it for one class, and then I took the lessons and I put them in the future class.
Okay.
And so then I don't have to worry about,
Good.
I've got mini lectures and mini assignments for them to kind of reinforce their learning.
Okay.
So that's TED Ed. I didn't open up Flipgrid, but I can show you. Let me open it up really quick. Okay. So I have 3 grids, if you will. And here's my medical terminology, here's my food, health, and justice. And so in this class, I actually had them tell me their food story. And you can literally, you can create a group, but I'll just show you this one. I don't think they'll care. So their food stories, and you can actually, so I have all my students create, and they get a 2-minute video that tells me about what their food story is and how it connects to their culture and whatnot. And so it's pretty straightforward. If I want to go actions, I can hide response, mix tapes, remove response, duplicate, download the video, download selfie. I can delete the response if I want to. I can export all of this information as well into my learning management system if I want it. Well, not directly, you'd have to upload it to your learning management system, but there's that. And I can click on, if I go back one, wait, actually I can go here. So I can actually change how it's all set up. If I hit edit, I can give them a different length of time, up to 10 minutes, because the 10-minute level is basically the right level for microlearning. Most individuals from a neurocognitive load can't really sit in an hour to 2 hour to 3 hour virtual lecture. So they really shouldn't anyway. But you can record a video, upload a video, you can put YouTube videos, upload an image, you can put it in a Kahoot. If you're not familiar with Kahoot, it's awesome, it's free. So Adobe Spark is free as well, and I'd encourage that too. And you can put in just a whole bunch of detail into this, and what features that can be put into it, comments. You can actually have them do captions if you want them to do captions and the like. So it kind of goes through. It's a pretty easy process. And then I'll kind of give you an example. Let's just go back to Flipgrid. And I'll show one of my midterm students. I'll show Jason. He won't care. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not.
Yes, I can hear.
Terminology student along with all of you. And today I'm going to be giving you the breakdown of 5 words, all pertaining to the digestive system. So we'll start with gluconeogenesis. That's a word that means the production of sugar glucose in the body from sources besides carbohydrates, such as amino acids. So if we look at the breakdown of the word, we always want to start at the end. So we look at genesis, which is the production or development of something. And
that's just kind of one example.
Okay.
It's really, it's a lot of, the students loved it. I mean, I had 5 students test it out and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. It kind of brings that sense of community in and brings a different voice to terminology versus mine, so they don't get sick of hearing me. Those biologues. So yeah, and then so yeah. Any questions so far? I mean, we're almost out of time here.
No, I mean, like you said, there's just so much out there, and I just got to pick. Obviously look at all of them or as many as I can, and then just kind of pick what works for me and stuff like that. But I'm maybe because I used Sherbert for the first time, or that was the first one I used. I mean, I really like that one, but then I also like Screencast-O-Matic. I was just, so I'll have to just narrow it down. But no, and then the TED Ed is really, really interesting. I gotta do a little bit more research on that one.
Yeah, and let me know if you want to see that assignment. I'm more than happy to share it with you, and then you can just modify it to your students.
Okay.
Cool.
Perfect.
So,
No,
yeah.
thank you so much. I mean, this was very, very informative, and I learned a lot so far.
Okay, great. Well, don't hesitate to reach out and email me or ask me a question, because I'd be more than, you know what? I didn't even notice him coming in. Joseph is here now. You know what it is? It's because it actually, the time zone. Hi, Joseph. I think a lot of people didn't see the time zone.
I made that mistake in another class, class I was supposed to be attending. Yeah, I was an hour off. So I made sure to look at the Eastern. Yep, it did.
Let's see if we'll just say hi to Joseph. Hi, Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, we're about done. We started at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Wow. So
it's okay. We recorded it, so you're fine, and I can stay on for like another few more minutes because I have another meeting right after this I need to prep for. So
okay.
But welcome. Well, Antonio, you want to say
Thank
hello?
you. Which means I should have joined by 12.
I don't know what time zone you're in.
Yeah,
So.
because it's 8 minutes to 1 p.m. right now.
Yes. So are you in Central Time then?
I'm in Texas. That's Central Time.
Oh, then you must be on the far side of Texas because
It's in Houston.
oh, that's where Antonio's from.
Okay.
And we all go to the same school, UHD.
Yes, okay. Yes, okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes. Okay. I didn't pay attention to the time zone.
That's okay. No
Yeah.
worries. This is recorded, and I can stay on with you for at least another 8 minutes if you have any questions, and maybe Antonio can kind of provide you some insight as well.
Okay, and in fact, I wanted to ask you if there is an app or a program that can enable one to select the voice of the presenter, similar to something that the GPS does.
Oh, yes, there is a tool out there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know what you're talking about, so you don't sound like a robot.
Exactly. You're right.
You want to sound something, God, it's an IBM tool.
Okay.
And let me write that down so I don't forget, because I can send it to you.
Okay.
Okay?
That would be great.
Because you want a text-to-speech. that doesn't
Yes,
sound like a robot.
yes, ma'am. Because I noticed that some of these programs don't understand my accent.
Well, I think you have a wonderful accent, and I
I-
think you should use it because it gives personalization to your class.
Yes, I think so, but sometimes I have to do a lot of editing in the text version
Okay, that's fine.
because I find that the system messes up the text because maybe my accent is a bit strange also.
It's not strange at all. It's part of who you are. So, and where are you originally from?
Originally from Nigeria.
That's what I thought, because I have two students who are from Nigeria, and their accents are very similar. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he's from Nigeria. I can tell. Yes, and I absolutely love the two young women. I'm actually working on a project with one of them, and we're looking at mammographers, and I'm not sure what your area is. We're looking at mammographers and how they train individuals, how they work with individuals with disabilities
Okay.
and mammography.
Okay.
And she's just a
My
gem, and her project is amazing.
my
So,
area is criminal justice and also
oh,
law
so
because I originally practiced as a lawyer before I came to the United States.
okay. So we did quite a few examples. Antonio and I. Well, I remember the topic, the Stanford
Stanford experiment.
experiment. Thank you.
The Stanford Prison Experiment, yes.
Yeah, and we were just talking about how that you could utilize TED Ed in that, or biologs, and I'm going to be
Yes.
posting all of this to the class. You'll get this recording and you'll be able to rewatch it again. But
Okay.
yes, there is a tool out there that does the text to speech that doesn't sound like a robot so much. You can
Okay.
actually pick your voice too, because you can go from actually, if I think I did it correct, if I remember correctly, it allows you to pick, not that you would want to do this, but it allows you to pick a gentleman's name who's from Australia, so you can have actually an Australian accent
Okay.
with your text to speech. So it's really
Okay.
kind of cool.
Yes.
So, but I will try to remember to I put it in my little notes to send or post that anyway, so you have that. And I was just telling Antonio, let me pull it up really quick and I'll show you what I mean. Symbaloo. I'm going to log into Symbaloo. Oops. Boop. Sign in. So let me show you my screen really quick.
Okay.
And I'll be posting this to the class, and I'm always updating this. So I have quite a few Symbaloos. So for example, here are my audio and video tools.
Okay.
Maybe. Come on now. Well, that's weird. That is not my Symbaloo for that. What's going on? Okay, so on presentation, there's my online presentation tools.
Okay.
There are my infographic tools. Audio.
Okay.
Ta-da! There it is. So these are all the tools I basically talked about. Well, not totally talked about, but I talk about during the week. And I'll put those tools like audio memos and smart recorders and SoundCloud and Audio Booms and Chirpit and Kazinian. I'll be putting a whole bunch of other ones in here too, plus some articles that I'll be posting to why it's important to kind of put audio and video into your classrooms now, because that, again, bringing that sense of community, bringing that student-to-student interaction, student-to-faculty interaction, and student-to-content interaction as well.
Okay.
So I'll be posting this in the class at the end of the week, so you have all the tools at your disposal, and all you have to do is save the link.
Okay.
And I update this quite regularly. So maybe I'll start a little spot right here for text-to-speech tools.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what that one is anymore. Okay. Anyway. I'm sorry to say that I have to let you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I have another meeting I have to prepare for today. So, but please feel free to definitely send me your questions or post your questions, and I'm more than happy to reply back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And
Thank you so
Antonio,
much, man.
you're
Great meeting.
welcome. Anytime.
Yes, ma'am.
Anytime.
Okay.
Have
Y'all
a
have a good
great
one.
day.
All right.
You too.
All right. Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.